Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G, coming to you live each and every Saturday. John Galindo coming to you live each and every Saturday, only here on Top Shelf Oldies. Want to welcome you to the August 22nd, 2015 Vinyl Treasure Show on this beautiful day here in New York City. Beautiful summer day, really less humidity. It was terrible this week, and I had to work late every day this week as we strive toward completing that corporate tax return on September 15th, so I will be busy for the next few weeks still, but not busy enough to do my Saturday evening 50s and early 60s edition of the Vinyl Treasure Show. Glad you can join Johnny G tonight and sit back for the next 2 hours. Got some cool 45s. Opened up tonight's Vinyl Treasure Show with saxman Joe Houston from January 1955. Did so many cool tunes on different labels through the years. This one's on John Dolphin's Money record label. Joe Houston with a song entitled Way Out. We're going to have some Way Out tunes for this evening, so stick around here. Enough of my babbling here. Let's start it off. I'll open up the vocal portion of tonight's show with a group out of Long Island, New York, and this was their debut single and their biggest hit. Actually, their biggest hit and the biggest hit I'll be playing this evening, as this was number 8 on Cashbox, number 6 on Billboard. This group, they were discovered by disc jockey Alan Fredericks, who was at WADO in New York at the time. He brought them to Bob Shad, the owner of Time Records. They recorded this one from December of 1958. They're called the Bell Notes. It's on time. You should know this tune, song entitled I've Had It. December 1958 to open up the Vinyl Treasure Show. Bob Shad's Time record label there, the Bell Notes, not the Blue Notes, the Bell Notes. The Bell Notes there on Time Records. They're out of Long Island, New York, a song entitled I've Had It. I like their follow-up of 45 to this one, too, a song called Old Spanish Town. I like that one. I don't know if I heard Alan Fredericks play it when he was on the Night Train show. Used to have the Night Train show, used to be on CBS FM, used to fill in. I think think for Don K. Reed and some of the other shows. But he also had an album. I remember finding a Night Train album on the Arawak label, I think, for a quarter at one of the flea markets. Anyway, enough of my babbling here. Let's continue here. This next 45 was not released until 1972, as the master tapes were sitting in bandleader Al Brown's closet for 13 years at the time before they saw the light of day. But someone purchased this master and put it out on a label called A&G Records, a label out of Brooklyn, New York, and gives credit to Al Brown and the orchestra. And I don't know anything about the group. They're called the Fascinations, but it's a great 45 recorded in February of 1959. Didn't get released until 1972 on A&G. Let's give it a spin. The Fascinations with a song entitled I'm Gonna Cry. From the closet, the back closet of Al Brown. He had that in the back of his closet before he sold all his masters. Got another one coming up later on in the show if we get to it. February 59, they recorded that one, released in 1972 on A&G Records. They made it look like a cool 1950s label. The Fascinations there with a song entitled I'm Gonna Cry. Let's continue here. Got this 45 on Ben Smith and Bill Bass Gordon's teenage record label. Lots of rare 45s on that label. I'm sure many of you collectors are familiar with a song called Moments Like This, is done by a group called the Boltoneers, who were from the state of Florida. They first recorded as the Valtones on Deluxe, but they do a tune called Tender Darling as the Valtones, but they changed their name to the Boltoneers, and here is their follow-up to Moments Like This. So you go back to October of 1956, the Boltoneers on Teenage with their tune called Tears in My Eyes.
Here where you left me, here where you left me, I'm here where you heart, my dear, to be by your side. So please come back, dear, and stay by my side.
Please stay by my side.
I'm here where you left me, with tears in my eyes.
Tears in my eyes. Hold you,
Hold you,
kiss you,
kiss you, one more time.
and live without you.
Out you,
Life is worth a
life ain't worth the time. So please come back, dear, and stay by my side.
stay by my side.
I'm here where you left me, with tears in my eyes.
Yes, when you walked out and left me with tears.
Tears in my eyes.
October 1956 release there. That is the second on the teenage label for a group called the Baltineers. Pretty expensive 45 if you have that one on the original teenage label. Tears in My Eyes. That's a great tune. We'd hear that one on the Time Capsule Show. Let's continue here for Saturday evening. I spin only original vinyl 45s out of my collection every Saturday right here on Top Shelf Oldies. I'm sure many of you are familiar with a girl group called the Ronettes, but prior to being called the Ronettes and before they hooked up with Phil Spector and the gang, the group was known as Ronnie and the Relatives. And she was known as Ronnie Bennett prior to her marriage with Phil Spector, before she became Ronnie Spector. And their debut single was on the Colpix label, a song called I Want a Boy. That was in August of 1961. They followed it up with this release in October of 61 on the Colpix subsidiary label May Records. Let's go back to October of 61 on the May label with Ronnie and the Relatives with their tune called I'm Gonna Quit While I'm Ahead.
Quit, 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 I'm gonna quit. Quit, 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 I'm gonna quit. I've always been a lucky lover gal. I had more boys, both the young and old, than a railroad train can hold. But since I found my way to you, I've decided what to do. Gonna quit while I'm ahead. I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. Settle down for all my life to be your ever-loving wife. I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. My wheel of fortune has been so good to me. All those prizes that I won sure have been a lot of fun. But since I found my way to you, I've decided what to do. wife. I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead.
That is Ronnie and the Relatives. Ronnie Bennett on lead there from October 1961 on the May record label. Song entitled "I'm Gonna Quit While I'm Ahead." Then on this side was released as a B-side on in Colpix Records in 1962 when they changed their name to the Ronettes. In '62 they changed it to the Ronettes, and they put that song on the flip of "I'm on the Wagon." John G's on the wagon every Saturday right here on Top Shelf Oldies. Let's continue here. Let's stay with the girl group sound for a label called Rycath Records. If anybody knows where 100 East Beetlewood Avenue is it Oakland, Oaklyn, Oakland, New Jersey? And this 45 supposedly released in 1964. I'm featuring the B-side, which I like better. L. Huff is the writer, and I don't know if that's Leon Huff or somebody else. It could be somebody else, probably not Leon Huff because he was busy over in Philadelphia at this time. But let's give it a spin here. I like this girl group sound. They're called Jinx, Jinx, Jinx. It's on the Rycath label, R-I-C-A-T-H, and the name of the song is called "I Don't Wanna See You."
I don't wanna see you.
Girl group sounds here for a Saturday evening. That one there, the girl group called Jinx, Jinx, on the Rycath record label out of New Jersey. 1964, I'm guessing. Actually sounds earlier than that. Jinx there with a song entitled I Don't Want to See You. Let's continue now. Up next, the group. They are from Miami, Florida. Pretty rare 45 too. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the soul duo Sam and Dave, Sam Moore and Dave Prater. Had all those cool soul recordings on the Stax record label, like Hold On, I'm Coming, Soul Man, I Thank You, and a whole bunch of others. Actually, they recorded prior. They had releases on Roulette prior to those Stax recordings. But Sam Moore was a member of this next group. They were called the Majestics. They had this one release on Henry Stone's Marlin record label, and I tried to scan this one in to post it on my Facebook page. I wanted to post 2 rare 45s I was featuring tonight. I couldn't get this. My Wi-Fi wasn't working with the scanner. I don't know why, but anyway, Sam Moore, he is not doing lead on this one. Someone by the name of John MacArthur, he's doing lead. Let's go back to 56, a rare 45 here on the Marlin label out of Miami, Florida. These are the Majestics with their tune called Nighty Night.
Well, my darling, I really hate to say nighty, nighty night. Although I've enjoyed your arms, yes, holding me tight. The moon is shining up above. I hate to go home, but it's late, my love. Almost one.
Rare 45s for Saturday evening. Those are the Majestics from 1956 on Henry Stone's Marlin record label. Did you know Henry Stone found KC and the Sunshine Band in the mid 1970s and the TK records and all that? But he was also involved in cool records like that when the Majestics, the song entitled Nighty Night. I remember that when Danny Romanello, Don K. Reed didn't own any 45s, so he would have guest collectors that would come on, and I think they would feature a lot of their records in the last 2 hours of the show, they would play a lot of them. I think when I spoke to Danny Romanello one time, he said he brought his copy of it. He doesn't own it anymore, but he brought his copy of that 45 up to the station, and others. As Don K. Reed used to feature some disc jockeys through the years, he would give their names out too, but no more, I guess. Anyway, enough of my babbling here. Let's continue. Let's go to California for this girl group sound, and they don't get top billing on the label, as the artist listed on the label is bandleader Al Smith, and in real small print, I tried to show it on the Ustream broadcast, you can see Vocal by the Angels. This one's on Isaac Neal Jr.'s Irma label. As we go out to Oakland, California, October 1956, they're called the Angels. It's on Irma. The song is called Leaving You, Baby.
Farewell, little darling. I've got a long way to go. Got to leave you, baby. I can't stay here no more. It's a long, weary road, but baby, I've got to go. No conversation. I'm doing myself no good. Got to leave you, baby. I can't stay here no more. I'll be back someday in that same old crazy way. Leave me no tears. Have a smile on your face. Remember that I love you. No one can take your place. So farewell, little darling. I've gotta be on my way.
Bluesy girl group sound there by a group called the Angels. October 1956 release on the Irma label out of Oakland, California. The Angels with a song entitled Leaving You, Baby. Let's continue now. Let's go to Atlanta, Georgia for this next 45. Bill Lowry's NRC record label, which stands for, if you don't know what NRC stands for, it stands for National Recording Corp. And this artist recorded 2 on NRC and one last release on the Decca label, but this is his first, and there is a vocal group backing him up on this one. Let's go to February of 1959 on the NRC record label for Bobby One. Bobby One and a group backing him up, a song entitled Undecided.
Every time I take you by the hand, I just wanna know where I stand.
Yeah, one.
Please, pretty baby, 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 don't be undecided. I wanna love, I wanna love, I wanna love from you that's undivided. Well, every time I ask you if you love me, pretty baby, you never tell me no or yes, you only answer maybe. Please, pretty baby, 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 don't be undecided. Well, every time I take you by the hand, I just wanna know where I stand. I want you to love me with a love that's real and true, 'cause that's the only kind of love I ever want from you. Please, pretty baby, 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 don't be undecided. Every time I take you by the hand, I just wanna know where I stand. I want you to love me with a love that's real and true, 'cause that's the only kind of love I ever want from you. Please, pretty baby, 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 don't be undecided. Undecided. Undecided.
His name is Bobby One, O-N-E, Bobby One there in a group. I don't know, maybe the Majestics that recorded on the NRC label. I don't know who's backing him up there. Bobby One there, his first of two on NRC Records, February 59 release, song entitled Undecided. John G here spinning 1950s and early 60s 45s out of my collection. We do it every Saturday right here on Top Shelf Oldies from 10 to midnight. Let's continue here. Let's stay in the South this time. We go to Jackson, Mississippi, to the Copa label. And this artist was also from Jackson, Mississippi, born June 14th, 1941. This is his debut single from 1961. Copa Records. His name is Sam Baker. Sam Baker and his tune called So Long. From 1961, 61 release there for Sam Baker. That is his debut single out of Jackson, Mississippi, the Copa label there. Song entitled So Long. He continued to sing, continued to record through 1969. Had some cool soul releases on Athens and USA, and 12 of them he released on the Soundstage record label. I'm only aware of one other 45 on the Copa label that I have, another expensive 45 by the Carvettes. And I don't know if I've played that here on the Vinyl Treasures show. But anyway, I remember getting this one from Ralph Barton at one of the Allentown, PA shows. Enough of my babbling here. Let's continue here for this next group. They are from New Orleans, Louisiana. They had 5 releases on the Imperial record label. Their second record on Imperial was an R&B hit for them. It was number 14 on the R&B Billboard chart. But I think it was called I forgot to write it down. I'll have to check it. It was I Was Wrong, maybe. I don't know. Well, anyway, the others did not make the national charts, and here is one that did not. It's their 5th and final release on Imperial. We go back to July of 1956. They're called The Barons. The Barons on Imperial with their tune called Don't Walk Out.
Baby, you're leaving. You say that we're through. Do you wanna break my heart? Do you wanna make me blue? Do you wanna tear my heart out? Do you wanna see me cry? Do you wanna see me sad? Do you wanna see me die? Well, that's what you're doing. When you walk out that door, I'll never be the same. I'll never smile no more. Oh, darling, no loved one, stay here with me. Ease my word, mine, in my misery. Don't ever go away. I love you, can't you see? Don't ever break my heart. Please don't walk out on me. Don't go.
That group called The Barons. I hate those Imperial. There was one Imperial pressing plant, the one with the dark maroon label. They used recycled vinyl, and a lot of those Imperials, they play with a hiss. And as I'm looking for that Barons record. I'm looking in my R&B Billboard a book here, Barons, because I want to tell you what that was here. Barons. It was a number 14 record for I Know I Was Wrong. It was a number 14 hit on the R&B charts for 2 weeks on Imperial Records. We just heard the 5th for the Barons on Imperial, song entitled, as I lost my place, Don't Walk Out. That one there from July of 1956. Let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. I know many of you are familiar with this next group out of Brooklyn, New York. Their debut single was their biggest hit, a big number 2, national smash for them both on Billboard and Cashbox, a song called Sorry I Ran All the Way Home. And for you collectors out there, the first presses omit the sorry. So if Hi-Fi Tim lists that record on his record wall, he's got to get the original. It just says, I ran all the way home. But their follow-up to that, also charted, was a number 86 song on Billboard, Oh What a Fool. But here is their third of 4 that they record on Cub. Of course, it features Joe Speedo Frazier on lead. Let's go back to October of 1959. These are the Impalas on Cub, and their tune called Bye, Everybody.
Walk away, the lonesome blues, forget troubles I might have had. Who needs to hang around? Who needs a blue, blue day? Yeah, my baby's gone. I know it's time to be on my way. Goodbye, everybody. I'm gonna put on my walking shoes, walk away the lonesome blues, forget about the troubles I might have had. Goodbye, yes, give me my walking shoes and my goodbye hand. Don't forget about the troubles I might have had. Goodbye, yes, everybody.
That is Joe Speedo, Frazier, and the Impalas. October 1959 released their third of four they recorded on the Cub, a subsidiary of MGM Records there. The Impalas with a song entitled Bye Everybody's. Now, bye till midnight. Johnny G here till midnight, spinning original vinyl 45s out of my collection, and I don't feature much in the way of a cappella, but with the revival of the music in the early 1960s, there were a number of groups on the scene that made their mark with their a cappella releases, and one such group was this group called the Camelots. They're from Brooklyn, New York, and here is their classic 1963 release on the Brooklyn Anko record label. As we go back to 1963, the Camelots on Anko and their tune called Don't Leave Me.
I'm begging you, please. Don't leave me, baby. Don't leave me, baby. Baby, please don't go. Cause I love you so. Can't you hear me crying? Baby, can't you see me sighing? Down on my bending knee. Yeah, and I'm begging you, please. Well, I had a girl, but she didn't love me true. Don't leave me, baby. Well, I had a girl, but I didn't know what to do. Don't leave me, baby. I'm begging you. Baby, give me one more chance. Give me one more chance. Baby, give me one more chance. Oh, mama, can't you see me crying? Oh, mama, can't you see me sighing? Down on my bending knee. Yeah, and I'm begging you, please. I'm begging you, please. Baby, come on. Baby, come on home. Baby, come on home. Oh, come on home. Mama, can't you see me crying? Mama, can't you see me sighing? Down on my bending knee. Oh, and I'm begging you, please. Oh, yeah. Oh, come on home. Oh, come on home. Mama, come on home.
Sounds of a cappella here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Camelots. The Camelots from 1963. Anko Records for the original on that one. Their tune called Don't Leave Me. Cameo would release that song again, probably as a reissue in August of 1964. Flip with the Ebonaire's Love Call. I think maybe, was it Joe Niagara, the DJ in Philadelphia that started? They were playing oldies in Philadelphia all along, and it started to get some airplay, and I think Cameo just got the master and released it, so it was a seller again on. So you may have this record on the Cameo label. Enough of my babbling here. Let's continue here. Got an ultra rare 45 up next out of Hollywood, California, as we stay in 1963 for this one. I wanted to scan this one also for Facebook, but I don't know, my scanner kind of wasn't working under the Wi-Fi there. But it's on a label called FAM, F-A-M Records, pretty rare 45, and I'm playing the intended A-side. Let's give a listen to this group. They're called the Arcados, A-R-C-A-D-O-S. The Arcados, released in June of '63. We head out to the Hollywood FAM label, the Arcados, with a song entitled When You Walked Out. Very rare 45 there out of Hollywood, California. They're called the Arcados. June '63 release there on FAM Records, song entitled When You Walked Out. You listen closely to that record, they did some terrible editing is what they did. It kind of like loses a beat there, but I think they edited the record. Yes, they did. Never saw a stock copy of that record before, but it is pretty rare. I paid a lot of money for that 45. One went on a Tefteller auction for thousands of dollars. Yes, it is. But anyway, enough of my babbling here. Let's continue here. JohnnyGs spinning original vinyl 45s out of my collection. No MP3s, no CDs, so you're going to hear some scratches and some pops. You'll hear it on this next record, and because I think I have a better copy of this floating around somewhere in the No Humidity basement. But this next artist, born in Kansas City, Missouri, he relocated to California, but he had that Southern style, that New Orleans sound. Many of his releases were AKA Fats Domino sounding. He had 7 altogether on the Bahari Brothers Modern record label, and this is his second and probably his biggest hit. And he co-wrote the tune, as this was number 11 on KDUL in this artist's home state of Kansas, Missouri. Let's go to August of 1956 for Jimmy Beasley. Jimmy Beasley on Modern with his tune called Don't Feel Sorry for Me.
I stayed out late at night, hardly ever came home. Mistreated my baby and now she's gone. So don't feel sorry for me. No, hurts me very bad, but don't feel sorry for me. Don't blame her 'cause she left. I'm nothing but a hound. Even had another woman on the other side of town. No, don't feel sorry for me. No, don't feel sorry for me. Oh yes, it hurts me very bad, but don't feel sorry for me. I asked for one more chance, I cried on bending knee. My baby won't come back, she says she's through in me. Oh, don't feel sorry for me. Oh, don't feel sorry for me. Oh yes, it hurts me very bad, but don't feel sorry for me. I guess I'll pack my bag and go home down the road. I don't know where I'm going, only the good Lord knows. Oh, don't feel sorry for me. No, don't feel sorry for me. Oh yes, it hurts me very bad, but don't feel sorry for me.
Scratches and all. Sound of New Orleans here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Jimmy Beasley, that was his second release, probably his biggest hit too, from August 1956 on the Bahari Brothers modern record label, song entitled Don't Feel Sorry for Me. Let's move on here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Here's a group out of Queens, New York, that they had a lot of success here on the East Coast, mainly in the New York area, mostly remembered for their debut single, which kicked off Saul Rabinowitz's Baton label, a song called 1,000 Stars, if you're familiar with that tune. They had 5 releases overall. Well, maybe 6 releases if you count a reissue of 1,000 Stars that came out on another Baton number. But here is their follow-up to 1,000 Stars. Eugene Pearson was the main lead for the group, but on this side, someone by the name of Alfonso Delaney's doing lead, as he did lead on a few cuts, and this is one he wrote. And this one was recorded in October of 1953, but not released until March of 54. These are the Rivaliers on Baton, and their tune called Darling Farewell.
Now is the time that we should say farewell. Now is the time that we must part until you return to me and make me happy. Darling, farewell until we meet again. Darling, oh dear, I just can't help for shedding tears. My heart will be with you although we're apart. Farewell, my dear. You know I'll always be here, darling. Until we meet again.
Oh dear, I just can't help shedding tears. Darling, my heart will be with you all the way apart. Farewell, my dear, you know I'll always be here. Darling, farewell until we meet again.
Early sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Rivaliers. Recorded in 1953, released in March of 1954. Alfonso Delaney doing lead. Did not do lead on a lot of their records, only three or four sides he did. But he wrote that one, Darling Farewell, that one there on Sol Rabinowitz's Baton Records out of New York City. Johnny G here spinning original vinyl 45s. Let's continue. And this next artist, he was born in Denton, Texas, but relocated to the northern San Francisco Bay Area as a child. And you may have just read that he won a multi-million-dollar lawsuit where it was the Los Angeles Superior Court civil jury found in his favor a breach of contract lawsuit against Even Saint Productions, awarding him $5 million in royalties and damages. And of course, his legal name is Sylvester Stewart, a.k.a. Sly Stewart of Sly and the Family Stone. He just won that multi-million-dollar. Of course, they're appealing it, but he was living out of a van, I think, the last time that he was in the news. I really had no money, but evidently his agents or whatever, they were using all his money, and they awarded him that $5 million. And I wonder if he received any royalties on this next record, though. His first record came out on the Luke label, and it came out as Danny Stewart, a song called A Long Time Alone. That one from 1961. Then in 1962, George Mottola re-released it as a B-side on the G&P label with a different flip side, which is the intended A-side that I am playing right now for you, written by the singer Sylvester Stewart, a.k.a. Sly Stewart. Let's go back to July of 1962. He was doing this type of sound before all those cool soul funky records on Epic. This is Sylvester Stewart and a group on G&P with a song called Help Me With My Broken Heart.
Well, I never been hurt before, but my babe just walked out the door. She said she don't love me, she said she don't need me no more. Somebody come and give me a hand with my heart. Yeah, it's getting so heavy and it feels like it's falling apart. Somebody come and help me. Somebody come and help me. Well, I need somebody to help me with my broken heart. I wish I could peep inside and take a look in my heart. Yeah, I would cry while I'm looking at the places where it's torn apart. Cause I don't know what to do. Yeah, I know you can't help me if this ever happened to you. Somebody come and help me. Somebody come and help me. Oh, well, I need somebody to help me with my broken heart. broken heart. Well, I need somebody to help me with my broken heart. And I
That is Sly Stewart, Sylvester Stewart on that 45. July 1962 release on the GNP record label. Help Me With My Broken Heart. If you like that 45, that's the only way you're going to get it. If you like A Long Time Alone, the flip side, B-side, which first came out on Luke, this is the cheaper way to get it. Enough of my babbling here. Let's continue here. This next gal was part Native American, born in Oklahoma City, but raised in Bell Buckley, Tennessee. She was mainly a country music singer and a regular on a local LA TV show, if anybody's familiar with a TV show called Hometown Jamboree. But she had a few crossover singles, and this is one that was a big, big hit in Canada. It was a number 8 on CICA in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Let's go back to October of 1963 for Molly B. Molly B-E-E on Liberty Records and her tune called Johnny Liar.
Johnny liar, Johnny liar. Oh, Johnny, you were there. You said you loved me, you said you cared. But Johnny, you were untrue. And now I know the reason why they call you Johnny liar, Johnny liar. Never mean a single thing you say. I bet you break 100 hearts each day. Why do you have to be this way? Why you have to be this way? Oh, Johnny, when we met, you told me sweet things I can't forget. You promised you would be true. What you said was just a lie. That's why you're Johnny liar, Johnny liar. Never mean a single thing you say. I bet you break 100 hearts each day. But why do you have to be this way? Why you have to be this way? Oh, Johnny, someday you'll meet a girl who'll sweep you off your feet. But then what good would it do? Your reputation follows you. She'll be wise to Johnny liar, Johnny liar. Never mean a single thing you say. I bet you break 100 hearts each day. But why do you have to be this way? Why you have to be this way? Johnny liar, Johnny liar. Never mean a single thing you say. I bet you break 100 hearts each day. Why?
Tina Tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. She's really a country western singer. Goes by the name of Molly B. That tune arranged by Alan Lauber, produced by Snuff Garrett from October 63. Molly B on Liberty with her tune called Johnny Liars. John G continues here for a Saturday evening. Here's a cool two-sided 45 and the only release for this mixed group, as it's both guys and gals, as they had one release on Morris Levy's Roulette record label, as this one was arranged by Henry Glover. Actually, both sides of the 45 were. And the A side was a song called Many Things From Your Window. I think that's what it was. And I have featured that one on the 60s edition of the Vinyl Treasure Show. Great side that I featured on the 60s show. But the B-side's a cool ballad that fits tonight's format. And they're called the Avalons. We go to Morris Levy's Roulette record label for this one, August 1964, the Avalons, with their tune called Is It the End?
Is it the end
of our love affair? Is
That group is called the Avalons, not to be confused with the Avalons that recorded for Unard and Groove and Casino. That is a different Avalons group for sure. That is a mixed group, males and females. The Avalons from August 64. Is it the end? That one there on Morris Levy's Roulette record label. No, it is not the end. Not till midnight. Here, Johnny G spinning original vinyl 60s and 50s, 45s out of my collection. And up next is singer Johnny Ramostella. You all know him, did so many great recordings through the years, late 1950s through the early 80s, still performing today. Yes, he is, and here is one he wrote that came out on the Chancellor label out of Philadelphia, PA, arranged and conducted by Jimmy Haskell. Of course, I'm talking about Johnny Rivers. Johnny Rivers here from June of 1962. We go to Chancellor Records for this one, song entitled Too Good to Last.
They say all good things must come to an end. So now lonely hours I'll have to spend trying so hard to forget the past. It was too good to last. Too good to last. Whoa, too good to last. Oh, the way that she kissed me and held me tight. The way she was my love each and every night. Well, I guess it all happened just a little too fast. It was too good to last. Too good to last. Whoa, too good to last. I do my best to forget dreams of yesterday. Memories of her love just stand in my way. Oh, now that it's over and we're far apart, all that she left me is a broken heart. And I'm trying so hard to forget the past. It was too good to last. Too good to last. Whoa, too good to last. I do my best to forget dreams of yesterday, but memories of her love just stand in my way. Now it's all over and we're far apart. Yeah, and all that she left me is a broken heart. And I'm trying so hard to forget the past. It was too good to last. Too good to last. I know it was too good to last now. Yeah. Whoa, 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 now. I guess it all happened.
That's a cool tune by Mr. Johnny Rivers, June 62, has a few on the Chancellor label. A lot of labels he recorded for. Yes, he did. Johnny Rivers there with a song entitled Too Good to Last. That is actually the B side of the 45. I think the A side was a cover of To Be Loved, I think, which is actually a nice cover of a Jackie Wilson tune. Enough of my babbling here. Let's move on here. Let's go back to Los Angeles, California for this next group. They had 5 releases on the Flip record label. This is their second, and at this point in their careers, they were known as the Bel Airs. It features Donald Woods on lead. Go back to May of 1955, Flip Records out of Hollywood, California, that called the Bell, B-E-L-A-I-R-E-S, the Bel Airs, with their tune called This Is Goodbye.
She loves me. Why has my darling gone away? Where is my darling today?
Why did she go away? Pearl was my girl, I loved her true. Doris, you came, Pearl and I are through. Goodbye, goodbye, Pearl, goodbye. Goodbye now.
Pearl was my girl. Yes, and I loved her too. But then one day, Doris, honey, you came. Now Pearl and I are through. So, this is goodbye, Pearl. Pearl, I'm sorry. This is goodbye.
Goodbye, goodbye now.
Oh, Pearl was my girl. I loved her too. Doris, you came. Pearl and I are through. Goodbye, Pearl. Goodbye, Pearl. Goodbye.
Goodbye love. Please forgive me, I must go. Pearl, there is something you ought to know. Please believe me, I don't love you.
May 1955 release there on the Flip label. They're called the Bel Airs. Donald Woods on lead, song entitled This Is Goodbye. The group would then change their name. They would become Donald Woods and the Bel Airs after this release, and they had 3 more releases, 5 in all, I think, for the Bel Airs / Bel Airs on Flip Records. Let's continue here for a Saturday evening, and I think it was last week. Was it last week that I got home late from work, been working late hours for the corporate tax return, so I'll be busy through the 15th of September when we have to file electronically. Yes, we do. But anyway, got home from work late, was flipping around on the cable channels, and one of the networks was showing a movie that I like, actually, a movie of a play, of the play Bye Bye Birdie. I couldn't resist watching a young Anne Margaret on the screen, and had Janet Leigh, Dick Van Dyke, Maureen Stapleton, Bobby Rydell, Paul Lynde, and the guy that played Conrad Birdie. His name is Jesse Pearson, which relates to this next 45 I'm playing, as I was curious if I had any 45s by him and if he recorded. And yes, he did. He did record. He had 2 releases on Decca, and later on he had 2 releases on RCA. And I found this one, which was his debut single, and it's a cover of a Hank Snow song, believe it or not, but it is in a different arrangement, and it's on the KO label, which is out of New York City. There's a Rare Girl Group record on the KO label and some other cool releases, but anyway, it's from 1959. This was his debut single, and then he went into acting, and he got on the Bye Bye Birdie, etc. But let's give a listen to Jesse Pearson. It's on KO Records, the song entitled I'm Moving On.
That big 8-wheeler rolling down that track means that your true loving daddy just ain't ever coming back. 'Cause I'm moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah, and I'll soon be gone.
Soon be gone, he's moving on.
'Cause you've been flying too high for my little old sky. So I'm moving on.
He's moving on. Moving on.
Yeah, and that big loud whistle. Is it blue and blue?
setting you free, and I'm moving on. Oh, but one day, baby, when you had your play, you are gonna want your daddy, but your daddy's gonna say, now you keep on moving on. Yeah, you stayed away too long. I am through with you. Too bad, Joe Blue. You keep moving on.
Keep on moving on.
Yeah, baby, you really did foul up this time. 'Cause I am leaving. And I want to tell you one thing. You are gonna miss me when I'm gone. And when I go this time, I'm gonna stay gone. I have warned you, baby, from time to time. But you just wouldn't listen. You wouldn't pay me no mind, so I'm moving on.
Keep moving on.
Yeah, babe, I'm getting out of this mess.
Keep moving on.
'Cause you broke your vow and it's all over now. And I am moving on. So, Mr. Engineer, you take that throttle in your hand and you head your train for Alabama. 'Cause I'm moving on. So long, baby. Bye-bye, baby. Now you go pester somebody else for a change.
That's Mr. Jesse Pearson, a.k.a. Conrad Birdie. Conrad Birdie when he sang One Last Kiss to Anne Margaret, though, but kind of reminds me of like a Eddie Burns type of sound there with girl group in the background there. 1959 on the KO label. I'm Moving On is the name of that one. And unfortunate that Jesse Pearson, he was diagnosed with cancer, and he died December 5th, 1979. He was only 49 years old. Let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Got a rare 45 as we head to Chicago, Illinois. This group had 2 releases on the Bold label. I still need their second release on Bold, but here is their first. I remember purchasing this one from my buddy Jerry Diaz out in California there. This group is called The Mixers. We go back to 1958. The Mixers on Bold with their tune called You Said You're Leaving.
You said you're leaving. How can you do me this way? I thought our love was here to stay, but you're leaving me.
Please don't go.
You said you're leaving. How can you go far? Oh, don't you know you're gonna break my heart? Please stay here with me. Well, I'll wait till eternity, till you come back to me. You must realize I love and want you right here. Yes, you're leaving. How can you do me this way? I thought our love was here to stay, but you're leaving me. Come back, come back,
Sound of Chicago here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. They're called the Mixers. The Mixers, they're out of Chicago on the Bold label, 1958 release there. They like that one there. In the Top Shelf Oldies album, You Said You're Leaving is the name of that tune. Let's continue. Let's stay in 1958, featuring a lot of groups from Brooklyn, the Brooklyn area of New York City tonight. Here's another, as this group had two on a label called Gallo Records. I wonder if it was Gallo Wine. Is it spelled Gallo? I don't know. But here's the B-side of their second release. We go to 1958. They're called the Royal Airs. The Royal Airs on Gallo. And their tune called Please Don't Leave Me Now.
Why did you take all my love? What did you do to my heart? Maybe someday we will part, but please don't leave me now. Your sweet lips are my desire. Kissing you sets me on fire. Maybe someday we will part, but please don't leave me now. I want you beside me forevermore. I want you to be my true love. For you are the one girl that I adore. You showed me the meaning of love. When you are here in my arms, I hold such heavenly charms. Maybe someday we will part, but please don't leave me now. I want you beside me forevermore. I want you to be my true love. For you are the one girl that I adore. You showed me the meaning of love. When you are here in my arms, I hold such heavenly charms. Maybe someday we will part, but please don't leave me now. But please don't leave me now. But please don't leave me now. But please don't leave me now.
The Gallo label out of New York City. The second release for a group called the Royal Airs. Royal Airs, 1958. Please don't leave me now. Let's continue here. We stay in Brooklyn, New York once again, this time for a single artist that has had a very successful career singing and writing, especially with his writing partner, Howie Greenfield. Started singing with a group called The Tokens on the Melba record label, then went solo in 1958. And here's one that did not make the national charts, but it did bubble under at number 111 on the Billboard bubbling under charts for about 4 weeks. It's his third RCA release and follow-up to a song you might know if you know his song called I Go Ape. Of course, I'm talking about Mr. Neil Sedaka. We go back to May of 1959. Neil Sedaka on RCA and his tune called Crying My Heart Out for You.
Standing all alone with teardrops in my eyes, looking through my window at the lovers passing by, and I stand alone, all alone, crying my heart out for you. Looking through my window, I see the moon above. It's a lovely night for romance, a perfect night for love.
May 1959 RCA release there for Neil Sedaka. That was an uncharted, actually bubbled under, so we can't say it uncharted. That one there bubbled under at number 111. Neil Sedaka with Crying My Heart Out for You. John G here spinning original vinyl 45, scratchy and not so scratchy till midnight. So hope you're digging on the tunes here. Let's continue. And earlier in the show, we heard an unreleased master that eventually made it out of Al Brown's closet. The song was by The Fascinations. I featured it earlier in the show, a song called I'm Gonna Cry. Well, here is another unreleased master, also out of Al Brown's closet, and it came out on Art Turco. Art Turco, who was, he had a collector magazine in the early 70s. Some of you collectors may remember the Record Exchanger. He also put out 45s on a label called Vintage. It was out of Anaheim, California. It would be released on all these different color plastics, like purple and orange and clear and red, etc. This one's on red vinyl, and but actually this song was first released in 1964 on an album called Al Brown Presents Dino Sounds, and on that one the artist was called was listed as Larry Alford and the Carousels on the album. On the 45, on the Vintage 45, which I am playing, they were just known as the Carousels. This one is probably 1958 or early 59. Let's give it a spin. The Carousels on Vintage with their tune called Goodbye.
You're leaving and I'm glad, because I found a new love, one that's a sure and true love. Goodbye, baby, goodbye. Goodbye, hate to see you go, but I found a new love. Bye bye, baby, goodbye. So long, I have found a new thrill, and she's my new fling. Bye bye, baby, goodbye. I found a new love, one that's so true to me. She's my new love, and I'll never let her go. Oh, whoa, 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 bye, bye. Hate to see you go, but that's my story. Bye, bye, baby, so long. I found a new love, one that's so true to me. She's my new love, and I'll never let her go. Oh, whoa, 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 bye, bye. I found a new love, and she's my true love. Bye, bye, baby, goodbye. You're leaving and I'm glad, because I found a new love, one that's a sure and true love. So long, baby, goodbye. I'm moving down the line. So long.
They sound like one of the other groups that Al Brown managed. I don't know which one, but I got to play a couple of those other releases. I'll know. But anyway, those are the Carousels. That's a cool tune from 1958 or 59 time period. Vintage Records, nice red wax, red vinyl on that one. Steve, if you saw that one, the Carousels with Goodbye. Johnny G here spinning 45s out of my collection. Up next, I have one of my favorite groups. They're from Harlem, New York. It was their second release on George Goldner's Rama label that really started me into collecting this type of music. A song called I Love You, Darling was a 45 that my aunt purchased back in late 1955. Here is their final release on Rama, and Richard Barrett is not on lead for this one. It features Carl Hogan on lead. I'm featuring it on a white label promo. We go back to April of 1957 for the Valentines on Rama Records and their tune called Don't Say Goodnight.
Don't say goodnight. Please don't close the door. Just hold my hand for a minute or more.
April 1957 release, The Great Valentines there. Carl Hogan doing lead on that one, Rama Records. Their tune called Don't Say Goodnight. Yes, Gus Gossett used to play that. I think he closed with that song, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, let's continue here. Let's go back to Brooklyn, New York for yet another group, as this group had 7 releases between 1955 and 1957, came out on Sid Nathan's King label. And this is the B-side to their 5th release. As the A-side, I really love a song called Dear Mother, but I'm spinning the flip side of the 45. It features Henry Austin on lead. Go back to July of 1956. They're called the Hurricanes on King, and their tune called You May Not Know.
You may not know what you did for me. You may not know what you did for me. You put me out of my misery. But when you said you were leaving, you thought my heart would break. Well, when you said you were leaving, you thought my heart would break. Well, you were wrong. And for goodness sake, don't you know we're gonna rock, gonna roll, we're gonna do things, won't go. You don't know what you did for me. You put me out of my misery.
reminds me of a Drifters record, a Clive McFadden and the Drifters song. Yes, but those are the Hurricanes with a B-side there, July 1956. On the King label, Henry Austin doing lead on that one. You May Not Know is the name of that tune. Let's continue. Let's go back to Los Angeles, California. This group very popular in the Los Angeles area. At least they were in late 1962 into 63 and early 64. And I have their debut single that came out on the Hollywood Shepherd label. And their subsequent releases after this came out on the Lord Bingo label. They're called the Bo Jives. We go back to June of 1962, the Bo Jives on Shepherd, and their tune called I'll Never Be the Same.
Once someone said love was just for a day. That's what I thought till you came my way. All our friends knew our love was true. Well, now I know I'll never be the same. Oh, no, no. Now I know I'll never be the same. And then one day you stepped out of my dreams. Still had my friends, but I'm lonely it seems. 'Cause all the tears through all the years. Well, you know they show me that I'll never, yeah, be the same. Oh, no, no. Show me that I'll never be the same. Ooh, if I could have one wish forever. Whoa, yeah, I'd wish that you would leave me never. Oh, yeah, never, 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 never. I know they say love is just for a day. Now I know why I don't feel that way. 'Cause all the tears through all the years, you know they show me that I'll never be the same. Oh, no, no, no. Show me that I'll never, yeah, be the same. Well, come on, pretty baby, no, they show me that I'll never be the same.
That group, they're called the Bo Jives. That is their debut single on the Shepherd label out of Hollywood, California. The Bo Jives from June of 62 with their tune called I'll Never Be the Same. John G here spinning 1950s and early 60s 45s out of my collection. Let's go back to an early side, early girl group side here. This one on Jerry Blaine's Script Jubilee label, as this group would later evolve into a girl group called the Deltones. But before that, they were known as the Enchanters. And this is a pretty hard 45 to find. It's definitely harder than their first release called Today Is Your Birthday. This is the harder one. It's their second. It features Della Simpson on lead with this Buddy Lucas and his Band of Tomorrow. They are backing them up here. It's from April of 52. The Enchanters on Jubilee, their tune called I've Lost.
All I had I've lost. My heart, my love, my sweet caressing. All I
Rare girl group sounds here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Enchanters that became the Deltones later on, but they were called the Enchanters first from April 52 on Jubilee Records, song entitled I've Lost. Speaking of girl group, one of my Facebook friends, his name is Chuck Mallory. He sent me an email. He told me that my show is being broadcast or carried on girlgroups.com. That is pretty cool. Hope they're tuning in. They're digging on the girl group sounds this evening. JohnnyGs spinning original vinyl 45s. We'll do it till midnight tonight. Let's continue here. And I lost my place. We just heard the Enchanters. Up next is a label out of Houston, Texas, owned by Harold W. Pappy Daly. And he called his label, the first letter of his last name was called D Records. And not much in the way of group harmony on that label. I think there are 4 records, group records in all on D that are group related, but there is a lot of country western and rockabilly-ish, and really the original release of the Big Boppers Chantilly Lace came out on the D label before Mercury got hold of it. But here is the last group record on the D label. We go back to May of 1959. They're called Andy Charles and the Blues Kings. It's on D Records. Give a listen to their sound. It's called Baby Don't Go.
Oh, baby, 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 please don't go. Oh, baby, 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 please don't go. Well, you know I love you, baby, and I'll never, never let you go. Oh, honey, 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 stay, please. Oh, honey, 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 stay, please. Yes, you know I love you, baby, and I'll tell you all, baby. Well, I wake up every morning in the middle of the night to tell you, baby, yeah, you don't do right. Oh, baby, 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 please don't go. Well, you know I love you, baby, and I'll never, never let you go. Well, I wake up every morning in the middle of the night to tell you, baby, yeah, you don't do right. Oh, baby, 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 please don't go. Well, you know I love you, baby, and I'll never, never let you go.
May 1959 release on the D record label, just a big old D. Actually, that's on the yellow label. Supposedly comes on a beige label too. Anyway, Andy Charles and the Blues Kings on D. Song entitled Baby Don't Go. JohnnyG not going not till midnight. I actually got a few minutes to go. Program note that next Saturday night I will be doing my all 60s vinyl show. So if you like 1964 and later sounds out of my collection, you're going to tune in next Saturday evening. Let's continue here. Here's a 45 I picked up at one of those Allentown, PA, all 45 and 78s show. I think I may attend the one coming up. I think it's in October, as Barbara and I will take a ride, stay overnight, so probably won't be doing my show that Saturday evening. I don't know the date yet. I'm sure a bunch of the dealers will be contacting me, but I had so many record collectors and dealers that want me to show up at that show, and I don't even know if I have time to look through the records. Not that I'll need much, but they're going to want to pick my brain, that is for sure. But I purchased this 45 from one of those dealers from Atlanta, Georgia that showed up at that show. His name was Ralph Barton. I wonder how Ralph is doing nowadays. But this one's out of Atlanta, Georgia, and it features Preston York on lead. He also wrote the song. Actually, this group first recorded as Little Preston and the Ramblers. Some of you may be familiar with their first tune on the Trumpet label called Come On Back, came out in March of 63. This one is from October of 63. They're called The Ramblers. It's on the Cora, C-O-R-A label. It's a styrene 45. The Ramblers with their tune called Bye, Bye, Bye.
Bye, bye, bye. Ooh, bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye, bye. Ooh, bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye, bye. Packing up my bag, gonna leave this town. Cadillac or a T-bird, but I know that I love you, that I want you, gotta leave this town. Can't be hanging around. Got to leave this town. Can't be hanging around.
Those are the Ramblers from Atlanta, Georgia, from October 63 on the Cora label, song entitled Bye, Bye, Bye. Yeah, Todd says that it is the 33rd semi-annual 45 and 78 RPM only record expo. That's October 3rd. So if you want to meet Johnny G, I will be there October 3rd with Barbara. Will be there at that show. Let's continue. Here. This next singer is from Star, South Carolina, born Kipling Taquana Anderson, but he shortened it to Kip Anderson. He had a number of releases starting in 1959, I think on the Derek label, but VJ picked it up. I have that 45. I think I have it on Derek too. But this is his third overall release, came out on Danny Robinson's Everlast record label. It's a song he wrote. It's from September of 62. Another styrene record on Everlast Records. Kip Anderson here from Everlast with his tune called I Will Cry.
I will cry, yes I'll cry. I will cry, yes I'll cry. I will cry, ha ha ha, till I find my love. talk to somebody. I got to talk. Oh, 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 till I find my love. Yeah, yeah, hey. When you walk out of my life, you know I knew that I'd done you wrong. Oh, but yeah, she won't come back to me. I'm gonna always be alone, and I'm gonna cry. Yes, I'll cry. I'm gonna cry, and I might even silence, but I'll just cry. Till I find my love. I wanna find my love. She left me a long time ago. I wanna find my love. When she left, she hurt me so. I wanna find my love. I'm gonna keep on searching till I find her. I'm gonna search and search.
September 62 release there. Kip Anderson's his name. Everlast Records on that one, song entitled I Will Cry. A few more 45s before Johnny G signs off here. I really love this next song for this artist born in Omaha, Nebraska. Started recording with a group called the Redcoats in 1959 on the Marlin label. I'm sure you're familiar. I think his biggest hit was came out on Checker Records. A song called Every Day I Have to Cry was a staple on Dick Clark's Where the Action Is, and had so many cool recordings through the years on different labels. I think he even owned a label, produced quite a few records, and this is another one on Chess. Actually, this one charted regionally number 29 on WCKR in Miami, Florida. It's the 6th of 10 on Checker. This one came out right before his release, Every Day I Have to Cry. Let's go back to August of 62 for Mr. Steve Alemo. Steve Alemo on Checker with his tune called One Good Reason.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Go on and leave me if you must. How did I hurt you so? I've got to know. So give me one good reason before you go. A rich man or poor man, a beggar or thief, whoever you choose will bring me grief. But before you go, give me one good reason why I hurt you so. I tried my best. Oh, I didn't succeed now. Please consider it, baby. You're the one I need. But if at first now you don't succeed, try again now. That's why I plead. Oh, forgive me and give me just one good reason before you go. Silence is golden, but truth is divine. If you just tell me what's on your mind, if you let me know why you want to go, just give me one good reason
August 62 release there for Steve Alemo. Steve Alemo on Leonard Chess's Checker label there. Had 10 releases overall. That's his 6th. One Good Reason is the name of that tune. I like that kind of sound from Steve Alemo. John G here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. We'll go for a little bit more here as I am beat. I had a tough week. I did. And Barbara came over for a while. We spent some time. Was really nice. Had a lot of phone conversation. I was actually invited to a record party earlier in the day, and because Barbara was coming over, I decided not to go. I can go tomorrow or can go next weekend, but we'll see. I do have work to do, which I may do tomorrow, but football is starting. Yes, it is, and my Bengals are on Monday evening. Let's continue here. Up next, a group from Belmar, New Jersey, and are any of you familiar with a group called the Manhattan Transfer, as they were a very versatile vocal harmony quartet, sang all different types of vocal styles and songs. And a member of that group, his name was Tim Hauser, and he was a member of this group back in the late 1950s. Unfortunate that Tim Hauser passed away suddenly. I think it was, I don't know if it was last year or earlier in the year, but it was unfortunate. I used to correspond with him when I first got my AOL account in 1993. There was a forum on AOL about record collecting, and I think it was him and another collector, Mike Molinaro. They were educating me on this music, and he told me that he was a member of this group, and he knew Alan Freed, and it was. I still have all those emails. I got to pull them out, but anyway, he was a member of this group, and we go back to September of 1959. They recorded 2 on the Cecilia label. These are the Criterions with their tune called Don't Say Goodbye.
Don't say goodbye, my love. Don't make me cry, my love. Don't leave me all alone. Don't say goodbye. Don't say goodbye. Don't ever go away. Don't ever go astray. Be in my arms to stay. Don't say goodbye. Don't say goodbye, my love. You told me you'd always be true. I said I'd be faithful to you. Oh, I want you only here. Listen to this plea, my dear. So please stay here with me. I'll never set you free. Through all eternity. Don't say goodbye. 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 Oh, please don't say goodbye. Don't say goodbye. Don't say goodbye. Don't say goodbye.
That was a debut single, the first of 2 on the Cecilia label for the Criterions. Tim Hauser, a member of that group. That one there from September 59, a song entitled Don't Say Goodbye. He told me that he performed that on the TV show. Alan Freed had a TV show. I think it was on Channel 5 here in New York. And it got thrown off the air when Frankie Lyman danced with a white gal. And I think that was the reason why they threw that show off the air, unfortunately. But anyway, he told me that. Enough of my babbling here. Johnny G doing Vinyl Treasure Overtime with my 45s. Up next, the B-side to, the A-side. It was Roy Head's biggest national hit. If you're familiar with a tune called Treat Her Right, came out in 1965 on Don Robey's Backbeat record label. But did you ever flip the 45 over and listen to the B-side of that record, which came out in April of 1965? Backbeat Records, we flip over Treat Her Right by Roy Head and the Traits, and you get this song, a song entitled So Long, My Love.
So long, my love, I hate to leave you, but it's so clear to me that our love is through. So long, my love, goodbye and good luck to you. Farewell to the love we knew, soon to be a memory. Goodbye, my love, I pray you'll be happy, though you're leaving me so sad today. Goodbye, my love, I hope that you're happy. What else can a man like me say? But so long, my love, we may never meet again, but I'll always be your friend. If someone else should say so long, so long, I hate to leave you.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's a B-side of a big hit for Roy Head and the Traits, song entitled So Long, My Love, April 65 release. Don Robey's Backbeat record label out of Houston, Texas. We continue here for a few more. I'm sure many of you are familiar with a song called You Cheated, originally recorded by the Slades, but became a big hit for the Shields, Frankie Irvin and the Shields. Well, the follow-up for of You Cheated was also a cover song, first recorded by the Youngsters on the Empire record label. Now, for you collectors out there, first presses of that Shields of this Shields 45 are on Dot. It's not on Tender. Tender is the second press, believe it or not. Came out in December of 58. Dot put this record out in October of 58. Features Frankie Irvin on lead. This is the follow-up to You Cheated by the Shields on Dot, a song entitled I'm Sorry Now.
I'm sorry now for breaking my vow. Darling, please forgive and forget. I'll make it up I'm sorry if I broke your heart. I know I was wrong, and now I can see that I was to blame from the start. I promise you, from now on I'll be true. Darling, say you still want me, and then you'll never be sorry again. Never again. No, never.
First release on Dot Records in October of 1958. Then Tender put it out in December of 58. Those are the Shields. Frankie Irvin on lead, the follow-up to You Cheated. Song entitled I'm Sorry Now. Let's continue here. Let's go back to a girl group here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. And this one, written and produced by Curtis Mayfield, was doing a lot during this time, 1963 and 64, for OK Records. And this girl group, they're from Gary, Indiana. They're called the Opals. Their debut single came out on the Belltone label, I think in 1963. Then they had 3 releases on the OK label. This is their second release from July of 64. Give a listen to the Opals on OK with their tune called You're Gonna Be Sorry.
You're gonna be sorry for all those mean things you've done to me. You're gonna be sorry. Someday I'll be a big wheel. You wait and see. And all the things around me is gonna be mine. Gonna be mine. Leave me if you wanna. For together we could have such a good time. You're gonna be sorry. I'm telling you now before you walk out that door. And when you leave, I don't wanna see you no more. It's true you don't love me. From me, you wanna be free. And when I become a big wheel someday, don't you come searching for me, no. Don't you come searching for me. And you're gonna be sorry, yeah, 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 for all those mean things you've done to me. You're gonna be sorry. Someday I'll be a big wheel. You wait and see. And all the things around me is gonna be mine. Gonna be mine. Leave me if you wanna. For together we could have such a good time. You're gonna be sorry. Oh yeah. You're gonna be sorry. Oh yeah. You're gonna be sorry. Yeah, 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 yeah. You're gonna be sorry. Oh yeah. You're gonna be sorry. Yeah, 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 yeah. You're gonna be sorry.
That's a girl group called the Opals from July 64. OK Records, Curtis Mayfield production there. Song entitled You're Gonna Be Sorry. Let's continue for a little bit more here on Overtime. Maybe I'll run out to finish this diskette. Got 10 minutes to go. Up next, a gal from, what is it? I've never heard of this place in Texas. Tell me if this is a real place. Itasca. Itasca, Texas. Is that a real place? Tell me it is. As she was 22 when she auditioned in the Waco Coliseum for Ray Charles, and who was then searching for female singers for his newly formed vocal backing group, the Raylettes. And this gal spent 2 years with the Raylettes in 1959 and 1960. But then she went solo. She released 2 on the Asness label in 61. Then this one release on the Southern Sound label, which was produced by Frank Slay and arranged by Charlie Colello. Let's go back to November of 64 for Ruby Roberson. Ruby Roberson on Southern Sound and her tune called Shame.
Me to you, and shame on the plans that I made. They all included you. I said shame, shame on my heart, shame on my heart. It told me to love you, oh yeah, and shame on all of my dreams, 'cause they didn't come true. I had hoped that what you said would come true someday. But now I find it's all in my mind, and that's why I say shame on your smile and the thrill it will begin, and shame on your kiss, the kiss that made me give in. I said shame, shame on the lies, shame on my heart, all that I told everybody, so that I could be with you, oh yeah, and shame on all of my dreams, 'cause they didn't come true. I said shame on my dreams. I said shame
Johnny G doing Vinyltreasure Overtime, November 64 release. Ruby Roberson's her name. That one there, Southern Sound Records. Shame is the name of that too. Maybe 2 more 45s to go here. This next artist, before he went solo, was the lead of the Crickets, recorded on the Beacon, JD, and MGM record labels. Was lead of the Bachelors, that recorded on the Earl label. Was also the lead of the Monterey's, recorded on Onyx. And later, he was a member of the Morrisania Review. But he had a very, very successful solo career. And here is one that he recorded on Joe Davis's Davis label, and one that I paid a quarter for. Used to love to find records like this for a quarter. We go back to 1956. Of course, I'm talking about Dean Barlow. Dean Barlow on Davis, and his tune called Can't Stand It Any Longer.
Can't stand it any longer. Why do you do me like
like you do. If you don't come back to me, dear, I'm coming back to you. This pain is growing stronger and seeping deeper in my heart. Can't stand it any longer. Can't stand that we're apart. You know I miss you. You know I need you. Much more than words could say. My heart is aching. My heart is breaking. Now how can I go on this way? Can't stand it any longer. There's nothing left for me to do. If you don't come back to me, dear, I'm coming home to you. You know I miss you. You know I need you. Much more than words could say. My heart is aching. My heart is breaking. Now how can I go on this way? Can't stand it any longer. There's nothing left for me to do. If you don't come back to me, dear, I'm coming back to you.
Joe Davis's Davis record label there, 1956 release. Dean Barlow, solo release by Dean Barlow, Can't Stand It Any Longer. Let's continue. 2 more 45s to go. And remember when I opened up the Vinyl Treasure Show, I said the biggest hit I would be playing tonight was a song called I've Had It by the Bell Notes. Well, this is the second biggest hit I'll be playing this evening. Yet another group out of Brooklyn, New York, as this song was number 7 on Cashbox, number 4 on Billboard. And this song skyrocketed on the charts when they appeared on Dick Clark's American Bandstand, as this record was originally released in June of 1958. And if you bought it in June of 58, it says only Imperials on the label. But if you bought it in August of 58, when they performed, or after August of 58, when they performed it on Dick Clark's American Bandstand, it would say Little Anthony and the Imperials. So that's how you'll know if you have an original. But anyway, the original is on a nice vinyl press on George Gollner's N record label. I'm sure you know this classic song that I'm talking about. The lead singer's Anthony Bourdain, later known as Little Anthony. Let's go back to June of 58, because I'm featuring the original copy on N Records. These are the Imperials with their classic Tears on My Pillow.
Not so long ago, you fate. Tears on my pillow, pain in my heart caused by you. Love is not a gadget. Love is not a toy. When you find the one you love, she'll fill your heart with joy. If we could start anew, I wouldn't hesitate. I'd gladly take you back and tempt the hand of fate. Tears on my pillow, pain in my heart caused by you. Oh, you.
Steve asks how old little Anthony was when he recorded that. He was 18 when he recorded that song there. That's a classic tune by Little Anthony and the Imperials. Actually, mine just says Imperials from June of 1958. The Imperials on George Goldner's N record label. Their classic tune, Tears on My Pillow. That's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. Want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to original vinyl 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with me, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. You can also reach me at JohnnyGvinyltreasures@gmail.com. You can send me a email. Tell me if you like the new format. If you noticed, I changed the format slightly on tonight's show, as I didn't play the music chronologically. If you like it better or you don't, you can let me know. And we're going to get this show up on my archive. Vinyltreasures.net is my archive. You can also stream or download the shows on my archive or right here on the TopShelfOldies.org website. I've been recording it on Ustream, and I will post it on my YouTube account. Be getting a lot of action on that account. And we're going to close the show tonight with a song written by Richard Blandon's brother, Curtis Blandon. Of course, Richard Blandon, he was the lead of the Dubs, and Curtis Blandon, he also had some soulful tunes later on, but he was a member of the Fabulons, and this one is on the Benson label. Actually came out on the two labels, Rico Benson, I think, and this Benson. I have them both. I didn't know which one was first, but anyway, we're playing from May 63, the Fabulons on Benson, a song entitled This Is the End. Well, it truly is the end of the Vinyl Treasure Show this evening. Want to thank you for tuning in and listening to my original Vinyl 45s program note. Tomorrow evening, want you to tune in to my buddy Dave the Rave and Relics and Rarities starting at 9 p.m. here on Top Shelf Oldies. He'll be on from 9 to midnight, and all the cool shows that are on during the week on Top Shelf Oldies. I will have another busy week, unfortunately, but you got to do what you got to do, and that's going to do it, folks. Hope you dug on all the tunes, and I hope you join me for next Saturday, my All 60s show, 1964 and later out of my collection. That's going to do it. Want everybody to have a safe and happy week, and just want to say, everybody, so long.
Opportunity not